Saúde Boa
Hello, and welcome to the Midnight Talk Show. My name is Dwight, and I am here with my co-host, Colin.
I'm Colin.
In this novel, the main character is Nora Seed, and she is a 30-year-old woman who went through many challenges in her life. She ended up losing her cat, her job, and then she lost some of her friends. And after all that happened, she just didn't feel connected with the world, and she ended up taking her life. Did I miss anything, Mr. Joy? And then what happened next, Mr. Dwight? To Nora's surprise, in between life and death, she's transported to the Midnight Library, hence the title. There, she meets Mrs. Elm, the librarian, and she's nice enough to guide Nora to find a purpose in life. Throughout the rest of the novel, Nora is able to experience many different lives that she never knew were possible. Thank you, Dwight. It seems to me that Nora has gone through a lot of hardships in her life. But tonight's talk show is going to be a little different than usual. Earlier this week, we actually had the chance to meet with Nora Seed, yes, the main character of the book. And we asked her some hard-hitting questions about how she felt and her experiences throughout the novel. Now, without further ado, let's roll the tape.
Where the hell have you been, Loca?
Hey everybody, it's Nora Seed, and I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to the amazing co-host for even, reaching out to me. I know that this doesn't happen a lot on this show, and so I'm just very grateful to be able to give you guys my side of things and for you to really get to know me and see who I am.
This is real, this is me.
I will say that we did pre-record our interview. However, we thought that now would be the perfect time to, just get together, have me back on the show and do a little Q&A with you guys. I feel like this would be the best way for you to get to know me and for me to get to see, what lingering questions that you guys have, and just things of that nature. So let's get started with the show.
Why did you choose to end your life?
This is such a tough question. Everyone has their own reasons for why they do things. For me, it was truly a series of events. To start off, I found out my cat died from a really cute guy who, I kind of messed things up with. Number 2, I lost my job at string theory. This might not sound like such a big deal, looking back. I wish I would have been like, Nora, girl, get it together, you can find something else. But it was huge for me at the moment because it was like the one thing that I felt truly confident in that I had, Yeah! No one expects to lose their job, especially when they're good at it. The third thing was my failed relationship with my ex, Dan. Me and Dan, when we were together, things just felt right. They felt in place. My life felt together. He helped me so much with my family things. But ultimately, I broke it off. And I felt so bad because I knew that I broke his heart, and I knew that I should have just been honest and openly communicated, but it was just something that I couldn't do at the moment. The fourth thing was running into Ravi. Ravi told me my brother was in town. He told me how I was such a terrible ex to Dan. He told me how I ruined the band for them, all of these things that of course I thought about, but to hear someone else say it, it's just like confirmation. So that to hear someone say the things that that you hate you know, and I use this word very cautiously, but you know that you hate that you've done in the past, it just really replays in your mind. It's like an open wound that never heals. It's like a cut that just grows, it just gets deeper and deeper. So running into Ravi truly was like the icing on the cake if I had to pick, you know, something that outweighed more than the other. But then the fifth thing, you know, Ravi also reminded me that I was a terrible, terrible friend to Izzy. I miss Izzy. I love Izzy, but it was my fault at the end. After having the experiences that I had, I learned that I needed to take responsibility for my own actions. So I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna blame Ravi. I'm not gonna blame Izzy. At the end of the day, I have to be accountable for myself. So, you know, just that reminder that me and Izzy would never be as close as we were before, it just really stung a little deeper that day. The sixth thing, I gave piano lessons to the sweetest boy. His name was Leo. His mother called me, you know, after I found out I lost my job, after I talked to Ravi, and she was basically like, hey, you know, where are you? We're here. And, I tried to apologize and say I'm so sorry. And she basically was just like, you know what, this isn't working. He has athletics, you know. And as someone who used to be a musician, but also did athletics, I just wish that I had the chance to just work with him a little bit longer, because I know what it's like to give up on your dream, you know. And Leo was really good. Leo really cared about the music, but ultimately, again, just something that was my fault. You know, I should have been there, and if had I been there, my lesson with Leo wouldn't have got canceled, and we would still be working together on amazing things. And the final thing for me that, you know, caused me to say, you know what, this is it, you know, no one needs me anymore, my neighbor. He's an older guy, and I usually, you know, pick up his meds for him and anything else he might need, and I found out I no longer had to do that. So while these things may seem really small, really insignificant, for me they were major, and they all happened within, you know, 29 to 27 hours of each other. And it hurt so bad. And honestly, at that point in time, I couldn't think of anything else that I should do or anything else that I could do to get rid of that pain. So ultimately, those events happening back to back to back were the reason that I decided to, you know, attempt to end my life.
Can you explain exactly what the Midnight Library is and what your first impression of it was?
Sure. So the Midnight Library is this place between life and death when you have attempted to commit suicide. For me, it felt so unreal. I was so confused. I remember being just like, didn't want to believe it. I'm like, no, I'm not here. I'm dead. I want to be dead. I just tried to kill myself. What do you mean that I'm in the Midnight Library? Like, I thought of it as this dumb place, and I was just really frustrated and angry because I'm like, damn, Nora, you couldn't even kill yourself. Like, girl, you had one job. And it just, when I first got there, I again was just so angry because all these things had happened to me, and I just tried to do one thing that I thought would make it right, and I couldn't even get that right. So yeah, at first it was just very frustrating, very taxing. I was angry, even more angry than I was before I even attempted to take my life. But after, you know, reconnecting with this elm and finding out more and more about the library, it made me grateful, thankful that I didn't die right away. You know, it gave me the hope and the courage I needed to pull myself out of the depressive state that I was in.
What did the Book of Regrets mean to you?
Book of Regrets, my favorite collection throughout the novel. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, the Book of Regrets, it was very eye-opening. it had all the things that I thought to myself about, all the things that I thought about in a negative kind of way, in the aspect of, like, things I regretted. It's the book is, the title is self-explanatory, but I do think that had I not seen and felt, like physically felt, the weight of the Book of Regrets, I wouldn't have understood I wouldn't have understood exactly what regret meant to me. And what I mean by this is, we live our lives every single day, and there's always things that we wish we could have done, always different, sometimes, different things come up, different paths that we may take. And so I feel like for me, being able to hold my Book of Regrets, I got to feel the physical weight of all the things that I let drag me down, all the things that I carry around with me on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it was just so overwhelming is the best way I can put it. So, I mean, just word of caution, just be careful with how much that you hold in, and how much you regret, because it really does take a toll on you mentally and, emotionally and physically as well.
What was going through your mind when you were face to face with the polar bear?
When I was face to face with that polar bear, I knew for a fact, I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to be food. I thought, this is it, Nora. You've been asking to die. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Like, I really thought that my life was over. But in that same moment, I knew that I didn't want it to be over. I still had life to live in me. And when I thought back to my life and all the things that went wrong, the people who didn't need me anymore, all the losing the things that meant the most to me, and having no sense of direction, at that moment of staring down death, it didn't seem so bad. It's when I realized that I really did want to live another day.
Up until this point, how many lives have you been in?
I went through so many lives in the Midnight Library. I mean, the options were endless, so I decided, since I already hate my current life, let's see if there's a different life where I am truly happy, where I'm at true peace, no more antidepressants, no thoughts of feeling out of place, anything like that. And so going through those different lives, without the help of Mrs. Elm, I wouldn't have been able to do. She really pushed me to try new lives and to just, get out there. She basically told me I had nothing to lose, and if I didn't like it, I would be disappointed. I'd just come right back. So at first I was very reluctant. I was like, no way, Jose. I'm not about to be life hopping. That sounds ridiculous. That sounds impossible. Like, lady, are you crazy? But as much as I hate to admit it, I did enjoy going from life to life and experiencing different things.
What was your least and most favorite life?
What was my least and most favorite life? Ooh. My least favorite would have to be with Dan. Before going, I really thought that Dan was the one. I thought, like before I called off the engagement. But prior to calling off the engagement, I thought that Dan was the one. I thought I found my knight in shining armor, my Prince Charming, whatever you want to call it. But the Midnight Library showed me that this was not the case at all. I mean, me and Dan were just so incompatible. I didn't want kids, and in this life, here I am with this man who doesn't really seem to care much about me, asking me about children. I'm just like, whoa, stop the press, slow your roll. It was nice. I was happy for him that he had the pub, that we had the pub, but at the same time, I realized that I sacrificed my dreams so he could accomplish his, and I didn't think that was fair. I didn't think the way that he treated me, that he talked to me was fair. So Dan was just a huge no. Probably the fastest I've been in and out of any of the lives that I had in Midnight Library. So I'm a hard pass on Dan. A hard pass on Dan. However, my favorite life was probably the one that I had with Ash. In that life, I had a family, had a dog. Ash was so sweet, so understanding, so caring. The complete opposite. I mean, a total 180 of Dan. And then my daughter. She was beautiful. It was a moment that felt so surreal. I never thought that I'd have children, a husband, a family, even a dog. I had a cat. My life is just so different, and I really did enjoy it, but I knew that at the end of the day, that wasn't who I was. I'm not a mom. I don't want to be a mom. But in that moment, it was nice. It was beautiful. It felt like the perfect family. I felt so much love and joy, and it was definitely my favorite.
How much did Mrs. Elm impact you as a person?
Mrs. Elm was definitely a huge factor in my life. Not only in the Midnight Library, but I mean prior. She's the one who told me about my father. And that's such hard news to deliver to anyone, let alone a child. So words can't describe the amount of respect that I have for that woman. And while I was in the Midnight Library, she showed me that life was worth living, that no matter how many things get thrown at you, that it's worth it to push forward and to find the things that help you, get out of that whatever is troubling you. And I like to think of her as a person who answered my call for help. If she wasn't in the Midnight Library, I probably would be dead. There would have been no one to guide me. There was no other person who could fill that role that she did for me. So I am very grateful and thankful for her. And she really pushed me to fully understand that even though my life was complete crap, it was still worth living. There were so many possibilities. So definitely a huge impact for me.
Is there anything you would like to share for other individuals going through the same feelings you did?
Yeah, if there is anything at all, I would say two things. The first thing is to figure out what makes you happy every day. Don't try to set so many goals saying, oh, well, when I get to this age, I'll have this and this done and that'll make me happy. No. For me, an example of happiness is waking up and drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. Happiness is waking up and doing yoga in the morning. Happiness is going to bed and being able to not have my mind racing about 12 million things at once. Try to find those little moments of joy in your everyday life, and I promise you, it will make the rest of your life feel so much better, because you can look back and say, wow, I may have had a shitty day, but at least that cup of coffee was nice. At least that morning yoga was nice. At least that phone call with my mother was nice. Just things like that. And the second thing I have is really cliche, but it's to live life to the fullest. As you know, I had a lot of regrets. I had a ton of regrets. They weighed on me so much more than I thought. And had I just lived my life and stopped being so afraid, I truly think that I wouldn't have even been in the situation that I'm in today, So that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much to the co-host for the show. I really appreciate being able to come here and speak with everyone. So I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. And if you guys have any further questions, feel free to email me, n.hill11@quincy.edu. And I'd be more than happy to help you guys.
What a really heartbreaking story. Wouldn't you say, Collins? It seems this story has definitely transformed Collins. You know what I mean? That's all we have time for today, folks. Make sure you stop by your local library or bookstore to pick up a copy of The Midnight Library. And yes, I'll say it louder for those in the back. Yahoo! The Midnight Library. Here you can follow Nora on her journey through many more experiences, and the story will definitely have you on the edge of your seat. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Midnight Talk Show, and I will see you guys next week.